All right, I think I'm live. Welcome back, everyone, to another podcast of Porn News Today Live. I am Alex, and remember, you can always follow me on Twitter at Alex Mayers Live. I guess the theme of tonight's webcast is going to be the ELISA HIV test. I know I pronounced it ELISA, I think, last night. I thought it was with another I in there, but I think it's only pronounced ELISA, ELISA. But that ELISA test, that's really the hot topic right now when it comes to the political issues within the American porn industry. And I suppose the reason that it's a hot topic right now is because you have the president of the Adult Performers Actors Guild, Alana Evans, pretty much making it known that the Western blot test, which is, I'm pretty sure that that's the current type of HIV test that the Free Speech Coalition PASS system requires performers to utilize before doing a scene, but I could be wrong. I am just an independent blogger and video blogger. I'm not a member of the Adult Performers Actors Guild or anything, really. I'm just me. So I could be wrong on some things. So if I am, I am. But I'm pretty sure that that Western blot test is what they're utilizing. But it's kind of out of date. I mean, it's still acceptable, but I think it's out of date because that ELISA test is what's able to differentiate an individual who is HIV positive but has their viral load low enough to where they're undetectable. And you know, within the gay stratosphere or the gay social sphere, they do like to say that undetectable is the new negative. And you know, I think in some situations, for practical purposes, sure, it is. But we're not talking about practical purposes here. We're talking about the porn industry where people are having sex for a living, probably more sex than the average person would have, or at least with more partners than the average person would have. So you can't be practical here. I think I know what's happened. I think that until that ELISA test came along, there were some people who were able to get their viral loads low enough within the porn industry talent pool to where they could be undetectable. And I think that you had some people who had no business telling these people this, but I bet you had some people who were touting themselves as medical professionals saying, yeah, you're undetectable, you're cured, no one's going to be the wiser, don't even worry about it. Says you're negative here, it's fine. But now the ELISA test is more common knowledge. So, you know, you probably had some people who thought that they were basically negative who, for whatever reason, one day took an ELISA test instead of a Western blot test, you know, saw that they were coming up as detectable and positive, and they probably went to the people or went back to the people who were telling them that they were cured and were like, hey, you lied to me, now what? I'm going to sue you, I'm going to go public. And they were like, no, don't worry about that ELISA test, it's never going to be in the porn industry anyway. I'll bet you that's what happened. So now you have a very well-respected veteran of the adult entertainment industry who has been very concerned about this issue for years, Miss Alana Evans, and people are listening to her now, and she's right. She is right. But will this Free Speech Coalition, which I think is basically just hell on earth, will they implement this ELISA test when it comes to the porn industry? Probably they'll fight it tooth and nail. I don't think that they will. I don't think so. But here's what I think. the people who are concerned about this should do. All right, because I'll tell you, don't go into the porn industry. Okay, if you're already in there, I made that choice too. But right now, and look, it's always been dangerous on so many levels. It really has. Spiritually, psychologically, socially, uh, physically. It's so many ways that something bad could happen that I don't think you should do it. But if you've done it, or if you want to do it, you're going to do what you want to do in life anyways. But if you're going to do it, you need to think to yourself, okay, what do I want to do in life later? Because that thought right there probably will determine whether or not you feel that you should request this ELISA test. I think that every woman definitely should, whoever decides to work in the porn industry, every woman should request that ELISA test. I feel like as long as you're getting booked enough to where you're satisfied with the amount of bookings that you're getting, definitely request that ELISA test. Maybe if you want, pay for your scene partner out of pocket to see if they have something that the other test isn't picking up. Maybe studio directors or something could say to the performers, hey, do you know about this ELISA test? I'll just deduct it from your scene pay. I think you should figure out, what's going on with your own body and whatnot with that. But yeah, I think that people should request it, because that ELISA test is what differentiates whether someone is truly HIV negative or HIV positive, but undetectable. And that's where that whole concept of informed consent comes in. I just don't even think it's worth it to be an adult performer at this stage. I really don't. Not when it comes to all the risk. If I knew back when I made the choice that I made what I know now, wouldn't have done it at all. Because it's just such a gamble. It really is. No matter how you look at it, no matter what you do, in some way you could end up getting hurt. But anyway, being that ELISA test most likely won't become like an industry standard, even though it should, maybe girls need to start their own thing to where they're like, hey, before I did the scene with you, are you ELISA compliant? Call it ELISA compliancy. Because that way some talent will be compliant, some talent, they're not. They don't have to disclose why they're not. They just wouldn't be. And then you, as an ELISA compliant person, would just say to yourself, is it worth the risk to work with this person who is not ELISA compliant? Maybe the APAG union could say that they support ELISA compliancy, because, and why not? Because you have some studios that support the condom thing. Wicked Studios, Wicked Pictures, for your years, they've done the condom thing, but then they say that they're about choice and whatnot. I'm not so sure about that, but you're gonna have hypocrites everywhere. But yeah, and the reason that I'm even bringing this up is, and I'm going to show this to you. Hold on real quick. I also kind of got to talk about, I'll have to get a little bit into the element of homophobia and race and things like that. But I just want to show you something from what I read yesterday when it comes to the CDC clarification that the Adult Performers Actors Guild was able to attain. Look at point number 2. This is really important. This has to do with the reality of undetectables, okay? Achieving and maintaining viral suppression are required to achieve this level of risk. And we know from extensive clinical experience and our surveillance that only about 2/3 of Americans with HIV infection are able to do this. So, and go and read that press release for yourself, please, everyone who is watching me who might be a performer. It's on the APAG Union website, because I was not aware of that. And as all of you know, I haven't been a performer in years. I likely will never be an adult performer again. But up until recently, I wasn't aware of the exact technicalities of the risk someone would be incurring should they be HIV negative to opt to perform with someone who's HIV positive but undetectable. The only way it could really be 100% safe for HIV negative performers from my perspective would be if the undetectables are testing on like a daily basis. Some people do feel that the entire concept and issue of HIV is very racist. There are a lot of stigmas and racist mentalities, and even racist urban legends, things that aren't even true when it comes to race and HIV. And we're not going to get into all that tonight, because I'm sure most of you watching me know what I'm talking about. But there's a time and a place to bring up the issue of racism. And there's a time and a place to bring up the issue of homophobia. But then there's other times that, even though you know there are racial and or homophobic themes attached to an issue, you do have to put all of that aside and just look at what it is and who may be putting themselves at risk, and the circumstance and the situation surrounding the people who are putting themselves at risk. Possibly even the lack of education some of the people embody who are putting themselves at risk. When you factor all of that in, sometimes you can't really say something's a racial or a homophobic issue, or racist or a homophobic issue, however you want to put it. One in that talent pool who doesn't want to work with anybody for whatever the reason is, that should be just fine. That should be just fine. I just think that they're going to have to go ahead and make that ELISA test more widely known, so that if girls want to work with partners who are only ELISA compliant, it can just be so.